It is Indigenous round this week in the NRL, so do pay my respects to the Aboriginal people. Indigenous viewers, this round is for you. It's round 11 of the NRL. Let's get into my predictions. So the first game of the round, we kick off on Thursday night. I will be there at Bankwest Stadium, the first game played at night. My Parramatta Eels taking on the woeful Penrith Panthers. Now at the moment, the Panthers do have quite a few changes. As for our side, it does say that Bevan French is named on the reserve. I really hope he gets a chance to play in this match. Now, George Jennings hasn't been dropped, which is controversial for me. You can't base a player on one game. There's been multiple errors throughout these games. I think this is his last shot. He needs to improve, not make any errors. Nathan Cleary was rumoured to have been dropped. He is named in the side. Dylan Edwards goes to fullback for Penrith as Dalen Waitani-Selesniak finds himself out of the side. Now this shocks me because I like him as a player. And James Maloney is not playing, sorry. He's suspended with a one-match ban. Regan Campbell-Gillard and Josh Mansour return to the side, as well as Mike Osivo from his suspension. I've gone the Eels by 12 here. I just think they've had some woeful moments. They're back at home. We can't always rely on being at home to win, which is a shame that we can't win away. I just think Penrith are woeful. We've got more points in us. Eels by 12. The next game sees the Sea Eagles, who are in good form at the moment, against the Gold Coast Titans. As I said in my recap video, I just can't pick the Titans at the moment. I really wouldn't be surprised if they finish last on the ladder this year. As for the ins and outs, there's no outs for either side. Keegan Hipgrave is in, as well as Shannon Boyd. And then there's no-name players, Lloyd Perrott, in for the Manly Sea Eagles. I've gone Manly to win this one, based on what I saw from debutant Cade Crust last week, number 6. He'll be up against Tyrone Roberts. I think he'll do a good job there. And Brendan Elliott is really good form. Brett Kamali, who I love watching NRL team, he spoke highly of him, gave him his 2 points for the week. He's really in good form at the moment. And I think Ruben Garrick is due for a try, so I might back him for a try. I'll get to that later. And Jake Trbojevic, obviously this is an Origin edition for him. I'm going to go the Sea Eagles by 8 in quite a high-scoring match. This game is going to be absolutely amazing. I think this will be one of the best games of the round, if not the best game of the round. Newcastle Knights coming off 4 wins. You wouldn't have picked this at the start of the season. Up against the reigning premiers, the Sydney Roosters. They had their second loss of the season to the Broncos, and God, the Knights are in good form. Kalen Ponga, I used to think he was quite overrated, but in my opinion, he's improving week in, week out as a player. There's big ins for the Roosters this week with Boyd Cordner and Daniel Tupou named. Tupou, I think, had a knee injury, so he's back in the side. As for this game, it's a hard game to pick because normally the Roosters thrash the Knights. I do think that during the first half that the Knights will be able to keep up in this match. I don't know whether they'll lead at half-time. That's a massive call for me. But I'm going to back the Roosters by 10 points here, and I think they will be too good for the Knights, but I think this will be one of the best games of the week. This one's going to be good. The Raiders up against the Cowboys. The Cowboys were really good to watch last week. Their forward pack stood up against the Eel. Matt Scott, Jordan McLean and Taumalolo just running through players. Ins and outs. Joe Tarpany has been named. I don't know if he'll play due to that thumb injury. He was due to play in a couple weeks, as well as Aiden Caesar. As for the Cowboys, though, Jake Clifford has been named as a reserve, as well as the return of Gideon Geller-Mosby, who was good last year. We'll see how we go. Ben Hampton is out. I think this game will be a lot closer than people think. I think people will see the Raiders smashing 13 plus here. However, I'm going to tip the Raiders by 4. I think they can keep up to the Cowboys. If their forward pack turns up, if you think about it, you've got Taumalolo versus Ryan Sutton, the Englishman. And then you've also got the battle of the fullbacks, which is Nickel Klokstad versus Jordan Kahu. There's some really exciting matchups for this one. But yeah, I'm going to back the Raiders by 4. The Warriors up against the Broncos. I'm going to go for a massive upset here and say that Cody Nikorima is going to get big points on his former club. I'm going to go the Warriors by 16. It's a massive scoreline. I know. I just think the Broncos have been so good lately. They're having an inconsistent season, in my opinion. This is going to be one of those weeks, and unfortunately they don't turn up in New Zealand on the road. I can't wait to see the battle of the number 6s. Cody Nikorima, who I think is in great form, up against Anthony Milford, his former halves partner. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck versus Darius Boyd. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck should rip him apart. And Fusatua against Corey Oates. It's a match up of great players. As for the ins and outs, Ignatius Parsi, who I think has been really good, is out for the Warriors. Chanel Harris-Tavita has been named on the bench of this side. I don't think he'll play. And of course, James Roberts is out. So a massive, massive upset call here. And the Warriors to beat the Broncos by 16 points. The next game sees the Rabbitohs. Is this game at ANZ? It is at ANZ on Saturday night. If I wasn't going to other games this week, this would be one. I went to it last year, and it was, what was it? It was 41-6, I think it was. Maybe even 51-6. The Rabbitohs up against the West Tigers. So you've got Robbie Farah up against his former club. This will be an okay match. I'm not looking forward too much to it. Damien Cook against Robbie Farah, though, as I said, it's a good matchup. As for the ins and outs, Mahe Fanua is out for the Tigers, who I think's been good. Now, it doesn't say he's injured. It seems like he's dropped. It just says that he's not in the 17. But I think that's the wrong call, in my opinion. I'm going the Rabbitohs by 8. I think the West Tigers have a big fight in them in this match. I think it'll be quite low scoring. Go off the top of my head, this match will be 20 points to 12 to the Rabbitohs, but I do think the Rabbitohs will get the job done. The next game, which I'll actually be at, is the Bulldogs up against the Storm at Belmore. The Bulldogs seem to do really good at Belmore. Unfortunately, Bulldogs fans, I think you're in for a very harsh week. This is a big call from me. I'm going to back the Storm by my highest margin this year. I'm going to back the Storm by 20. I think this game will be all Melbourne. They'll turn up. They've won so many games by 2 points or 1 point, besides that flogging of the Eels up at Magic Round. I'm going to go 32-12, something like that. Ockenbaugh is out for this side, bringing Christian Crichton into the team. Jerome Hughes is also back from injury from Melbourne. Ryan Pappenhausen, I spoke about him the other day. He's in extreme form. He is on the bench, though. He's not in the starting side now that Jerome is back. Other ins and outs, as I said, Ockenbaugh, Lachlan Lewis has been named, and Jerome Hughes. That's pretty much all there is to it, as well as Sandor Earl, who had an okay game in the reserve side. But I just think this game will be all classy Melbourne. I think Addo Carr will have a massive game as well, being Indigenous round. And I'm going to back the Storm by 20. And the final game of the round at Wynn Stadium sees the Dragons, who have now lost 4 in a row, up against the Cronulla Sharks. I think, straight up, the Dragons' record against the Sharks should win them this. However, I think it'll be a very tight matchup. I'm going to tip the Dragons by 2. Now, the reason for this, I'm a bit disappointed, is they've dropped Matt Duffy and Zach Lomax goes to fullback. I think this is a massive test for the Dragon, but with if Ben Hunt steps up, if all these players last week that struggled, even James Graham, who's in my friggin' super coach, and he was not great last week for the side. As for the ins, Matt Moylan is named at the reserves. Now, Brett Kamali thinks he will play, but I just don't know if he will. Matt Duffy has been dropped from the side, but it does say here he is named as a reserve. And Ravalawa is out for this match, bringing Pereira and Aiken to the wing. So yeah, I think the Sharks will put up a bit of a fight here. Chad Townsend is in good form, in my opinion, at the moment. He should have a good kicking game. But I think this game depends on players like Ben Hunt and James Graham, the forward pack. And Zach Lomax is a massive test. But I'm going to go the Dragons by 2. So that's it for the round. Let's get into my best bets. Alright, it's now time for my best bets. I always go for the roughies if you watch this part of the video. I'm going to go some try scorers this week, as well as a multi, and then a side multi, which is paying quite a bit. So my try scorers for this week is Josh Dugan for the Sharks. I think he can cross the line and score. Gonna back Addo Carr to have a massive game and possibly score a double against the Bulldogs on Sunday for Indigenous round. I've seen enough from him lately from the Cowboys. I think Justin O'Neill can cross the line and score for the Cowboys, as well as Mike O'Sevo from the Eels back from suspension. My 4-team multi for this week is the Eels, the Warriors, the Storm, and the Dragons. Now that multi there is paying $6.45, so $5 that gets you $30. And my side multi, which is my roughie, don't rely on me. I'm gonna back Josh Addo Carr, Josh Dugan, Parramatta 1-12, and the Melbourne Storm to win this match on an alternate winning margin of 11 to 20 points. So between those points, now this is paying a massive $98.17. So good luck. Let me know if you did back with me this week on my multis. I got up a few times last week with players like Nicarima, Bronson Cherry. I did pick him to score a double, unfortunately. Dale Copley as first try scorer. And a bloody 9-leg multi in the AFL, so maybe I should stick to the AFL. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think is going to happen in this round, your predictions, your multi for yourself if you have a different one to me. I'll see you guys in my next video. Enjoy Indigenous round. I'm excited to bet 2 games this week.